You bet. Hey, thank you all very much for being here tonight. I'm Scott Greenlee. Looking around the room, I think I know or have met about 85% of you. So for those that I haven't, I'll give you a brief introduction and then I'll give you some ideas of, number one, why I'm running for chair, and number two, what I would hope to accomplish if elected for the 25-26 election cycle. I've been involved in politics, believe it or not, because I know I look very young, but I've been involved for like 40 years. In 1984, at East Kentwood High School on the other side of the state, the class that I was in had to pick somebody to play Ronald Reagan in the school mock election. And I was picked, and that was cool. So I studied Reagan, I looked at all the policies, I looked at his speeches, and I ran for president in the class in the mock election, and just like Reagan, delivered a nice Republican victory. And that got me kind of going in politics. And from there, I went to Grand Rapids Junior College, also over on the other side of the state, obviously. And I noticed they didn't have a college Republican club, and the Michigan Republican Party reached out, and they said, hey, we want to start a club. Do you know anybody who would take that endeavor on? And I said, yeah, I'm a Republican, I love Reagan, and living here in Grand Rapids, which at the time was a very strong Republican area, the city and the county. Today it's just the county and not so much the city. So I said, sure. I said, I'll get it started. We recruited 50 or 60 volunteers pretty quickly. We wound up doing doors, and that's what taught me my love of grassroots politics. And ever since then, I've been engaged in the process. The last 20 years, I've been self-employed, and I'm a general business consultant and a political consultant. So I've run campaigns, and that's how I frankly know a lot of you. But also here in Wayne County, I feel very comfortable because I've gone door to door in multiple races here in Wayne County for candidates, not only that I've represented, but also just for targeted races when I've been out working for the party and helping the party. I've attended your Lincoln Day dinners, I've attended your fundraisers, and I've always felt that Wayne County has the ability to deliver a lot more if they have better resources and more support. And that's frankly something that, as a vice chair of the state party, I've noticed, as a county finance chair, a county co-chair on the other side of the state, but traveling around, I've noticed, you've got darn good people here and darn good Republicans, and we need to talk issues, we need to talk policies, we need to maybe sneak away a little bit from the party label. And when you look at what President Trump did in this most recent election, that's exactly the playbook, right? I mean, he was masterful at saying, we don't need to build this party and get votes by excluding people. We don't need to find reasons like somebody's voting record that, oh my goodness, they screwed up this one time, so we don't want them. No. We need a big, broad, wide party with differing views. We only need to look at Tulsi Gabbard and Robert Kennedy, and obviously a lot of people at the local level here in Michigan, right here in Wayne County and in other parts of the state. Look at Marquette. Look at the fact that Marquette has never had a Republican state representative, and now we do, and that helped us win back state majority. So if we talk policy, if we talk and provide the resources, and we identify good candidates in some of those Democratic areas, we know we'll get ahead, and that's what we've got to do. I've been part, and it's really a privilege to be part at some level of over 100 winning campaigns in that time. That's ranging from city council races all the way up to running congressional races that were successful, taking staff roles in gubernatorial, attorney general, secretary of state, and of course presidential campaigns. In fact, way back in 2015, I was lucky. The Trump headquarters for the state of Michigan was not even 1 mile from my house. So guess who hung out there a lot with the Trump staff? And let me tell you, early in 2015, there weren't a lot of us. There was Mr. Hagerstrup, there was a couple other volunteers, there was myself, and I don't know if any of us were getting paid. I wasn't, but it was a lot of fun because we believed in Trump. We believed in a new vision. In fact, I had first met Donald Trump in 2012 at the Oakland County, 2013 at the Oakland County Lincoln Day dinner before he was a candidate, before he was even talking about running. He came in and he did a great Lincoln Day speech. I have the program from the event still, and let me tell you, he did get awarded the Man of the Year. There was no two ways about it. I sat there and I watched it. And it was a great night. They had over 2,000 people at that Lincoln Day dinner, and he kind of went from there. In terms of priorities, everything is up in 26. We always say it's the most important election ever. This time it is. Governor, SOS, AG, the state senate, retaining the state house, winning back some seats in Congress, as well as defending those that we've got. Education seats, we've got to do it. And when I served as vice chair from 2009 to 2010, that election cycle, we did just that. We won every one of those seats. We took back the Senate, we took back the House, we added to our congressional delegation. That's the experience I want to bring to you, with a delegate focus that's transparent by nature and brings every part of the party together through honest, regular communication. With that, I heard the bell. I got to be respectful of the time. I can talk to you for another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, but I think I'll take some questions and behave myself. And I see my friend Mr. Wolf got his hand up. Hold on, you call.
Michelle had it up first. Go ahead, Michelle McQuarrie.
Michelle McQuarrie, committee woman. Just want to ask you one question.
Yes.
So you just said that your business is working with campaigns, and so my concern would be, what will you do about that conflict of interest as our state party chair and campaign?
That is a perfect question, because you know, Michelle referenced earlier, you're gonna hear a lot of crazy things. I've been hearing all sorts of crazy things, like I would take all of the state party money that is raised and I would put it into only the candidates that I represent races. Are you kidding? Like really, somebody actually thinks that? So understand, let me be extremely clear about this. If I'm elected state party chair, I will have 0 clients. I will have 0 private business of consulting with any political candidate, not just here in Michigan, but let's face it, I've got candidates that have been successful around the country. I just spent time with the mayor of Clearwater, Florida, who was elected in March. I helped run his campaign from here in Michigan, did a lot of work with him. I've told him if I'm successful, he's got to find somebody local to handle those details. 2 reasons. 1, the obvious conflict of interest. 2, the fact that state party chair, and I've known a lot of them, and I've observed over the years, it's a 50, 60, 70, 80 hour a week job. I mean, there is no time literally to do anything else. So it wouldn't be practical and it wouldn't be right. Again, to be very clear, 0 consulting clients at Greenlee Consulting. We will shutter things down and I won't be working with any individual candidates. I will only work on behalf of the Michigan Republican Party.
Matt had his hand.
Hi, thank you. In this district, we had 2 great successes in the State House, both the retention of Amy Thompson in 28, and then the work that was done to put Riley Linting over the finish line. They were very, very key races, both of them. Both of them involved, to a great extent, the House Republican Campaign Committee. And I know for a lot of delegates, that's sort of persona non grata, but at the same time, we had 7 races across the state where the margin of the Republican losing, including the 22nd where I live, was less than 3,000 votes. So we have 58, we could have easily had 65. So the question for you is, what do you see as the proper roles between those 2, and how do you see those 2 working together?
It's a great question. Yeah, that's a really great question. First of all, understand HRCC is its own entity, its own animal. Any state party chair, you could elect any one of the 4 of us that are running or anybody else that gets elected. We do not have the authority, the power in any way to walk into HRCC and say, you will do this, or you will spend money there, or you will support this candidate in a primary. So what we'll try and do is we'll try and make sure, again, we build good, solid relationships that are built on honesty, that are built on doing what we say we're gonna do, and make sure that everybody is at the table. You know, one of the problems and one of the reasons we have a lot of conflicts within the party, and a couple of the other folks have already mentioned that, is because people aren't willing to meet. People aren't willing to sit down and talk. And I'm proud of the fact that, you know, I've had an opportunity to talk to the newest volunteers, the newest grassroots activists, because I've recruited some of them, but I also have relationships with some of the most senior donors in this state. And it's important to bridge the gap to get everybody's ideas on the table so that we can explain that not everybody's gonna get 100% of their way, but folks, as Ronald Reagan used to say, if we get 80% of our way, we're trusted and valued allies. And if we do so in a positive manner by being transparent, by making sure everybody truly is heard, and then by following up and doing what we say we're gonna do, we will build trust. I think that there's a lot of times when rumors start about HRCC or other 501c3 and 4 organizations, and they get a little blown out of proportion. At the end of the day, while I wouldn't have probably done everything that HRCC did if I was in charge of HRCC, I look at the results. I look at the fact that they had one job, and that was to win the State House back so that we can block the last 2 years of radical Democratic ideas that Gretchen Whitmer was going to continue to put forward. So I applaud the representatives that worked on that. I applaud that team, and again, I will look to build a very good relationship with them going forward, taking the input of grassroots activists throughout this state.